Eala faces former doubles partner Zeynep Sonmez in Abu Dhabi opener. Friendships will have to take a backseat when Eala begins her singles campaign at the WTA Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open, scheduled from February 1st to 7th at the Zayed Sports City International Tennis Center. Sports event coverage. Eala will face her friend and former doubles partner, Zeynep Sonmez of Turkey, in the opening round on Monday. The 20-year-old Eala and 23-year-old Sonmez both received wildcard entries for the first of three major events in the Middle East swing of the Women's Tour. The two have faced each other in the past. In November 2023, Eala came from 1-4 deficits twice to beat Sonmez, 7-6, 5, 6-4, in the quarterfinals of the ITF W60NG Open Nord Atlantique in France. 2 years later, Eala repeated defeat with a 6-1, 6-3 victory in the first round of the qualifiers at the WTA 250 Lexus Eastbourne Open 2025. Eala and Sonmez have also partnered in doubles, reaching the semifinals at the 2024 First Empire Women's Indoor in Slovakia and the 2023 ITF Kayatek Open in Luxembourg. Just days after her quarterfinal exit at the WTA 125 Philippine Women's Open, Eala will be looking to make a deep run in the WTA 500 tournament in the UAE capital. However, she will first have to overcome the Turkish number one, who enters the match riding high on confidence after reaching the third round of the Australian Open. Philippine boxing equipment. Sonmez caused a major upset in the opening round by defeating world number 11 Ekaterina Alexandrova of Russia. The winner of the Eala-Sonmez match will advance to the second round to face the victor of the all-Spanish clash between 8th-seed Paula Badosa and Jessica Maneo Buzas. In doubles, Southeast Asian fans will finally get to see a dream pairing as Eala teams up with Indonesian star Janice Tien, who recently reached the second round in singles at the Australian Open. The duo, however, faces a tough challenge against Leylah Fernandez of Canada and Kristina Mladenovic of France. Fernandez, 23, is ranked 68th in doubles and has reached the French Open doubles final. Mladenovic, 32, a former world number one in doubles, recently won the WTA 250 ASB Classic in Auckland and has claimed the Australian Open twice and the French Open 4 times. When familiarity becomes the first test, Eala versus Zeynep Sonmez in Abu Dhabi. The desert has a way of sharpening everything: light, shadows, intentions. In Abu Dhabi, where the air hums with heat even in winter and the courts gleam like polished glass, beginnings feel louder than elsewhere. For Eala, the opening round is not just the first match of a tournament. It is a reunion shaped by silence, distance, and the strange intimacy of shared history. Across the net stands Zeynep Sonmez. Once, they stood on the same side. They shared water bottles and quiet jokes, synchronized warm-ups and the unspoken trust that doubles partners build when words become unnecessary. In doubles, the court feels smaller, the angles tighter, and the bond between partners almost familial. You learn not only how your partner hits the ball, but how she breathes before pressure points, how her shoulders tighten when nerves creep in, how confidence radiates when rhythm arrives. Now, that knowledge becomes both gift and burden. For Eala, Abu Dhabi represents another step in a career defined by momentum and ambition. Still young, still carving her name into the professional game, she carries the weight of expectation, not just her own, but that of a nation that watches every swing with hope. Each tournament is a classroom and a proving ground, a place where potential must translate into presence. But this match is different. Facing a former doubles partner is like reading a familiar book whose ending has been torn out. You recognize the prose, the pacing, the style, but you don't know how the final chapters will unfold. Sonmez knows Eala's tendencies, the patterns she favors when constructing points, the moments when she chooses patience over aggression, the subtle cues that precede a change of tempo. Eala, in turn, knows Sonmez's competitive fire, her resilience, her refusal to fade quietly. This is not a meeting of strangers. It is a conversation resumed, but in a new language. As the players walk onto the court, the pre-match rituals unfold with practiced calm. Racket strings are checked. Shoes squeak softly against the surface. The crowd murmurs, unaware that beneath the professional composure lies a deeper emotional current. There is respect here, yes, but also the unspoken reality that one must advance and the other must pack her bags early. The first ball is struck, and nostalgia evaporates. Eala's ground strokes crack through the air, precise and purposeful. She moves with the quiet confidence of someone who has learned to trust her preparation. Sonmez counters with grit, absorbing pace, redirecting energy, refusing to let rallies end on Eala's terms. Every point feels like a chess move, calculated and deliberate. What makes the match compelling is not just the tennis. It's the tension between memory and immediacy. When Sonmez anticipates a shot perfectly, it feels less like a lucky guess and more like a page torn from the past. When Eala adjusts, changing patterns and disguising intentions, it's a declaration of growth. I am not the same player you once knew. In doubles, success is shared. In singles, responsibility is solitary. Between points, Eala takes measured breaths, eyes fixed on the baseline. She has learned, over years of travel and training, how to quiet the noise, external and internal. The familiar face across the net could be a distraction, but instead it becomes a mirror. This is what progress looks like, facing comfort and choosing competition anyway. Sonmez, too, evolves in real time. She fights for every ball, drawing on the same stubborn resilience that once made her a dependable partner. There is pride in her play, a statement that shared history does not mean shared outcomes. She belongs here as much as anyone. As the match unfolds, the crowd begins to sense the undercurrent. This is not a lopsided opener. This is a test. A reminder that early rounds can be as emotionally demanding as finals, sometimes more so. The scoreboard tells only part of the story. The rest is written in footwork, in clenched fists, in fleeting smiles that acknowledge good shots even when they sting. Win or lose, something shifts when the final point is played. For Eala, the match becomes a marker on her journey, a moment where she proves not only her technical growth, but her emotional maturity. Competing against someone who once stood beside her requires clarity of purpose. It demands the ability to honor the past without being held captive by it. For Sonmez, the match affirms her place on the tour, her capacity to challenge, to adapt, to stand alone under the spotlight she once shared. Doubles partnerships may end, but competitive spirit does not. In Abu Dhabi, under desert skies and stadium lights, two former partners redefine their relationship. Not as allies, not as opposites, but as professionals chasing the same elusive goal. And as Eala walks off the court, whether in victory or reflection, she carries more than a result. She carries proof that growth is not linear, that familiarity can sharpen competition, and that sometimes the first step forward begins by facing someone who knows where you came from. In tennis, as in life, the net does not erase history.